welcome to another episode of the Someone Had to Say It podcast. Wow, I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, but first of all, my name is Temitope Oladokun. You can call me T-Dokes, and
my name is Olaoluwa and Oladokun, and you can call me Ellie.
So we're super excited to be doing this today.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited?
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it.
How excited are you on a scale of
I don't like
10?
doing scales. On a scale of 1 to 10, I am 100.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Do I look that excited?
I don't know.
So I've busted
let me
the
save
scale
my
anyway.
comment. But yeah, you do look excited.
Yeah.
So by the way, we have a repository of amazing episodes for you.
Yes.
If this is your first time here, please make sure after this one you go back and catch up on all our
Let's welcome the people that are joining us for the first time.
Yes, welcome. So please catch up with all our previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing stuff for you.
Yeah, and shout out to all the people that have been, watching all episodes consistently. I know some people that have not missed a single one. You are the true MVPs.
Thank you for the love.
Mm-hmm.
Please continue to share. Yeah. Make sure to subscribe if you're here for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Follow across all our social media platforms. Drop a comment, engage, and thanks for all you do.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Without further ado, we dive right into the red shoebox.
All right.
So for those who are here for the first time again,
we
have something called the red shoebox, where we have questions and suggestions that people send to us. Everything goes in
famous,
world
famous red shoebox.
So we jiggle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me just already start doing that.
Yes, and then we pick a question. So what do we have for today?
Okay, so let's see what we have here.
Drum roll.
Am I supposed to be doing this with my mouth? Okay, I think I can do a fairly good job of it.
You can do it. Okay. Hello, LA and Temitope Oladokun.
Okay.
I have a question regarding relationships.
Okay, this one's a long one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know it is not a relationship podcast. That's okay. Is it?
Oh, I remember we said that before. And it doesn't mean.
But I mean everything about life, love. I mean, we've got you.
Yeah.
Is it okay to have a list of things you would like in a potential partner? And is there such a thing as being too picky in dating? It's $1 million question. I love it.
Interesting. Well, what was the first part? Like, is there anything wrong with having a list?
Yes.
It's not a bridal list or bride price, or what do they call that thing? Wedding list. This one is even a list of requirements for somebody
exactly. For a potential partner.
All right. Yeah. Do you want me to answer it, or do you want to take a dig at it?
You can go for it first.
Actually, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a list when it comes to relationships. Interestingly, even though, I mean, off the top of my head, the first thing that came to my mind was, no, you shouldn't have a list, but I think you actually should. So maybe the question is, what should the list entail? Sure, you get. So you can answer the second part of the question. I think the second part says, is there anything like being too picky when it comes to dating and relationships?
I can actually also give my thoughts on
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think everybody should have a list, right? But not list in the superficial way that people imply when they say, oh, you have a list, right? So you should have a list, and by list I mean have expectations. You should have clear expectations of the kind of person you would want to date, because if you don't have any yardstick, then it means you just cop up anything you see, right? So you should have a list. And is there such a thing as being too picky? Yes, and I don't think that's a bad thing. You should be picky, right? Now, what's the meaning of too picky can be relative. Like, it's such a broad spectrum, and it's hard to say like a hard yes or a hard no. But the most important thing is what your expectations are, right? And what you are judging a prospective partner by. So I think those are like the key things. But in terms of, is it okay to be picky? Should you be picky? I think you should be picky. Being picky means that you have hard standards, like standards you're unwilling to compromise for anything in the world. And it's okay. You are you have the permission to do that, right?
But can you be too picky?
Can you be too picky? Yes, I think you can't be too picky.
So
and that's okay.
Is being too picky a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that the act of being too picky is not a bad thing. Okay. My interpretation of being too picky is that you have standards you will never compromise on. And I think that's okay. Everybody should have that, right? What is debatable is, what are you picky about?
Yeah, okay.
Right? So it's more about, what are those things that you are picky about? So that's when we can now have conversations to see, okay, are these negotiables? Are these non-negotiables? Everybody should have non-negotiables that you are willing to break for anything, because you have a frame of reference. Like there's something backing up that conviction or that preference, and this is a deal breaker for me. So yeah, it's okay to be too picky. Don't let anybody shame you for that. It's okay to have a strict list. Don't let anybody shame you for that either. Please stand by your choices and your decision. You're an adult. So yeah, you have every right to do that.
And I'm sure that goes for both guys and for ladies.
Absolutely.
As well.
And I don't know, there's this, when we talk about this subject, it seems more like a feminine thing. Like males should not have, standards. And please be be picky as a guy. Like, you should have expectations of the kind of person you want to date and the kind of person you want to do life with. I mean, respect yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, let's zoom into that a little bit. So I mean, we've said you can have a list. So we are not just speaking vaguely, So what should that? So is this you literally drawing a list of, okay, these are the things that I want? Like, you should have a list, a checklist, like a sticker on your wall, that if the guy or the lady I want to get married to does not have all these things, then they are nullified. And then on the matter of being too picky, I feel like some people may interpret. I mean, it's all about. I mean, I agree with what you said. Yeah, because now the way I read it was that, okay, you should be picky, but too picky may now be where you're now driving your selectiveness to a particular extreme. Do you get? So like
actually,
I said,
people should be okay with being extreme about some things. Like,
no.
I'm trying to demystify people trying to always find the balance when they hear the word too picky. Like, it's okay to be too picky.
I agree with what you're saying, but I'm saying, like, in the interpretation of the question, there can also be the context of me saying that, can you be picky? Yes. And if I'm saying that, can you be too picky, being like the extreme part? Okay, let me give an example. So I'm saying that, okay, for instance, if I say that if somebody does not, the classic example, press the toothpaste from the bottom, then I cannot get married to them. Now, that may be considered as being too picky on an extreme ranking. I get what you're saying.
I get what you are saying, but so, I don't agree with why do we always use this superficial examples when we're talking about being too picky?
That's what I'm saying.
A person can say, I'm too picky, I cannot date somebody who has ideologies that a man is polygamous.
That can be under picky now.
No. That can be under too picky. Like, that's a serious issue. Okay. That's my point. Like, you just confirm my point that when we're talking about too picky, we find the most absurd examples, like
that's why you're putting,
like, you must have a beard. Why? No.
That's the two in front of it.
The two for me means your convictions are rock solid.
All right, no problem. Okay, so let's get back to it. We'll continue this debate.
No, I'm talking to our viewers that look, please get comfortable with us arguing, because this is what we do in our private space. And just giving you.
If you like, don't be comfortable with it. That one is on you. This is what you signed up for anyway.
Yeah.
But it's all good. So I mean, zooming into it. So what should in terms of having a list? So now we are saying that, okay, it's okay to have a list. So what should be the things that you would consider in terms of the person that you are dating in this proverbial or even literal list? And in terms of being picky or too picky, whichever one you choose, so what are the things you want to really pay attention to when it comes to deciding that, okay, because now let's look at it because I feel like there are several phases. There are the things, the ideals, let's call it requirements that you want in a partner, in your life partner, before you even get to meet somebody. Then there are some things that, while maybe there are suitors around you, there are guys that like you, there are ladies that like you, or that you also like as well. There are also some things that you also need to look out for. So what should be on the list?
Yeah. Okay.
Where dating is concerned.
So you said something cheesy, about, do people like me to have literal lists. So for me, I don't think.
Did you have a literal list?
No, I did not. That's what I was going
I
to
wouldn't
say.
have been surprised if you did though.
So I didn't have. I don't think there was ever a time where I sat down and I wrote, "Oh, it must be this. It must be this." But I was very clear in my heart, in my mind. It was vivid. It was a vivid image. The things I wanted to see in a potential partner. Like I was very clear on that because I had that strong, um, you know, self-awareness. I've done a lot of work on myself to be able to say, this is the kind of person I am, this kind of person I'm evolving into, and this is the kind of person I want to do life with. For some people, it may be necessary for them to write a list because they're on a journey where they've not even solidified their sense of self.
Yeah.
They're still evolving. They are making a drastic shift from the way they've known life to be or the way they've seen themselves to be, or they are trying to evolve from their upbringing into something else. So like there's that's deep work going on in their mind, in their heart, that it may be necessary for them to write down because that image is not yet strong. So having a physical list is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean you are vain or fluffy. It doesn't necessarily mean that. So that being said, this question of what should you have on your list. Now, I'm not the kind of person that I don't believe in driving uniformity, but I believe strongly in rewiring people's minds so that they begin to think in terms of having the right value system. And I believe when you have the right value system, it's just natural that your expectations, your lists, what you look out for is in line with that value system. If a person doesn't have a value system, then they stand for nothing. You have to be able to stand for something. So I believe in terms of value system, everybody should. And this value system, they are not just value system that are just cooked up because, it seems nice to talk about as a person, but these are value systems that we know that are supracultural. When I say supracultural, it means that it transcends culture, transcends time, transcends generation, scripturally backed. In fact, it is even the basis for our justice system in society. It's the basis for which societies run. It's the basis for things that just keep societies sane, communities sane, right? Elements like honesty, elements like strong family values, elements like hard work, elements like vision, having vision, right? Elements of diligence, elements of generosity. So when you have that value system, have I said honesty?
Yeah, I think
very important. Yes. So when you have that value system, element of growth as well. When you have that value system, I think it's such a strong anchor that will help you as a person and would also be like a shield for what you not only attract, but for what you also accept, right? Because as a person, beautiful lady, handsome guy, with all the strong value system, you still attract some nonsense because the way you project yourself,
even nonsense a bit better thing.
Do you get? I mean, you look good. You've got the aura. I mean, you're doing amazing stuff in the world, so you would attract both the good, bad, and ugly, right? So that's going to be there. But what you accept, that means you are making the effort. This is an active, thing to accept. There's going to be that line. So I believe more in talking about value system. So I'm not going to tell you look for somebody that I don't know, what do people put in their list these days?
Even those things you mentioned are some things that
exactly
that people put on their list.
So maybe he must have a business. He must have this amount of savings. He
must be this tall.
See, those things like even earning capacity. I mean, I think we probably touched this briefly on previous episodes. That can change, whether upwardly or downward, depending on life situation. But when the value system is in place, which means diligence, hard work, this is not the kind of person that will give up. This is the kind of person that will keep pushing regardless of what life throws at them, right? Some people have like hardcore things on their list, like it must be tall.
Yeah.
You know, now I don't fault that. It's okay. Really, to be honest, it's okay to have preferences in terms of, the physical vessel. But what I will encourage for people like that is, remember that yes, you may be marrying, it may seem like you're marrying the package of the person, but ultimately who you are doing life with is the essence of the person. Right? So keep that in mind, and make sure that whoever you marry, even if they come in that package, make sure they have the essence that can
just
help
make sure
you.
You're attracted to the essence.
Do you get
because
the essence that will help you and your destiny? The essence that will raise your children with you.
Yeah.
The essence that you are going to be doing the next couple of decades with, which is, by the grace of God, we will live long if
Amen.
Jesus tarries and fulfill the number of our days. So for a lot of us, we get married, at certain age, that when you do the maths and you subtract from how many years you want to live, you see that you'll be married for most part of your life. So it's serious business. So for me, and this is me, right, I have negotiables and non-negotiables. To be honest, I have an understanding, or my guiding principle is that I'm married to the essence of the person. Does it mean I have to compromise on physical looks? No. But then remember, just keep in mind the things that matter the most. Some people make core life decisions on the ephemeral things, and it ends up hurting them. So just make sure that it's okay to say, you know what, I like somebody that has, beards. I like somebody that, has full hair. I like somebody that, whatever the case may be, but just make sure that you're not losing sight of the things that matter the most, the essence, the value system. So yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. So in terms of what should be on your list, so I think it's at this point that I need to make a distinction in that I don't think that there's a physical list that can contain every single thing you should look out for in a potential partner.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are teachings, sermons, podcasts that talk about, good stuff, and you've even mentioned some good things you should look out for. And the reason why you can itemize those characteristics is basically because of something you've also mentioned. I think the most important thing that influences what becomes your list, which I think for the most part is mental and conscious, is how aware you are of your values and the outcomes you want out of life. Those are the two things that determines any list in that sense that you can come up with. Because there are people, if I say, okay, 10 things you should look out for in a potential partner, there may be somebody who checks the box in terms of those 10 things. But then there is something that you discover while you are probably friends with the person, dating the person, and you realize, okay, I don't think this is the right person for me. So I think what young people who are looking to get into relationships should do is spend time reflecting and introspect. Think about the things that matter most to you. So if I take myself for instance, I would say my spiritual life matters to me. So that means that it matters to me that my wife is a Christian. And even that is a very wide spectrum, because even within the Christian community, there are several core values, several ideals, several doctrines and stuff like that. So I believe that we should agree in terms of the spiritual things that we consider important in our lives. We should have the same values when it comes to the place of God in our relationship, the place of the church in our relationship.
Personal fellowship.
Yeah, in terms of fellowship, what that should be like. I'm not necessarily saying we should mirror each other, but that we agree that I accept what this person practices as Christianity, and they also accept mine, and that even what we consider growth in our faith is towards the same direction. That it's not that, oh, this person is practicing something entirely alien from mine. That is extremely important. Another thing that would matter to somebody like me is that for me, family matters extremely. So no matter how attracted I am to somebody, if I found out that, oh, somebody I'm attracted to does not want to have kids, definitely we are not headed in the same direction where that is concerned. I value growth, discipline, I value commitment, honesty,
Humility.
humility, um, um, respect for people. I don't mean I don't mean courtesy as we practice in Africa, but I mean like you being kind in every sense of the word. And these were some of the things that endeared me towards my wife. So, and I feel like at this point, because some people will now be asking, or one of the questions I would have wanted to ask, which we can answer, so we can ask that going to, which I think we haven't touched on it, is that how important is something like attractiveness, you know, the way somebody looks. And while I think that is very, very important, we can categorize this list into preferences and non-negotiables. So things you can have under preferences, and preferences are okay, like you had earlier mentioned.
Very valid.
You know, a preference would be, oh, I want my wife to be beautiful. And I found out that pastors will be telling people that don't look on what is on the outside, inside. Look on the inside. You know, is that, and all of them
look at their wives.
So that's all of us. You know. So I mean, if your preference does not fall under your non-negotiables, then that one is on you. But I mean, joking aside, so preferences are things that when push comes to shove, you can actually pull the plug, even though the person checks the preference list. Preference can be, okay, I would rather somebody. So even as a preference, I don't think desiring somebody who is financially stable is a bad thing.
It's absolutely not.
As a preference. I don't think desiring somebody tall is a bad thing. Some people like, you know, I want somebody with a baritone voice. So all those things, as long as it's under the list of preferences, it is fine. And what that means is that those things may not be attributes that the person you eventually get married to has, if they don't check the other requirements. I'll say the non-negotiables are the most important things. So things like your values, especially if you are also a Christian and you believe in God, your values as a person of faith, honesty, integrity, kindness, loyalty, commitment, you know, all those other important things that you hear everywhere else people mention that you should look out for. Those are very, very important. But it's just, you know, separating and knowing the difference between these two things. So the next question I'll ask is that how do you draw the line between being practical regarding the things that you desire and being delusional?
Delulu.
Yeah.
How do you like find that balance?
Yeah.
That's a very deep question, because it requires a level of honesty and self-awareness to be able to say, okay, I think I'm being not even delusional, like maybe ridiculous at this point.
Or too picky.
I refuse to use that word because it's okay to be too picky.
I intentionally threw that one in there. Continue.
So how do you find that balance? I think it's in doing that exercise that you talked about, by saying, look, these are my preferences and they are valid, because God created the tall guys, you know. God makes them in every shape and form and variety, and as with everything else.
So no hope for short guys like this.
And short, I literally said short.
No, it's tall guys.
I'm sorry. No, that's like I just said. God made them in every shape, size, and form. I mean, there are sweet short guys all over the world, amazing tall guys, sweet fair guys, amazing dark guys. My point is, God made human beings and every other thing in different, you know, in varieties, for us to admire, for us to enjoy. Please, I hope that enjoy is in context.
When you are married,
and I said, like, all that. I'm not even saying human beings now. I'm saying like everything.
Okay, like everything God made.
Everything God made, right? And so God is not about uniformity. I'm sure you must have noticed by now, right? God is a God of variety, right? So I think it's in, like I said, you need to have that level of honesty and self-awareness to say, you know what, when it comes to the non-negotiables, I think we've established what should be on the list of the non-negotiables: value system, things that transcend time, attributes that will carry you through every season of life, in the good times and the bad times, in the what was it called, that will keep you anchored, basically, right? And then on the preference list, you can flow with it. You can go AWire with it. You can say, you know what, maybe my first, I'm making it up, maybe my first celebrity crush, you know, was or used to or is a tall and dark person, and maybe that sort of fueled that desire to be with a tall and dark person. But just having that honesty to say, these other preferences that, to be honest, we can be flexible with what fuel this desire. You know, I mean, if a man grows up in a community where all the women are tall, right? I think it's only natural that that guy is attracted to tall ladies. If a lady grew up in a community where everybody's short, like there is no image or there is no awareness to fuel a desire for a tall person, like where is that desire coming from? So at the end of the day, some of our preferences, a lot of them are fueled by something we've seen, something we've heard. We may not even know top of our minds until we do some soul searching to say what fueled this desire for me. You know, some people, they like guys that sing, right? And what's that about that? What's fueling it? Is it that, you know, somebody can have like the worst character, but
as long as they can sing,
once they start to sing, like your head is in a funny space, you need to ask yourself questions like, why do I feel this way? Why does this happen to me? For some people, anybody in performative arts, like that person has gotten their heart. Once you can dance, you can act, you can sing, you can perform, there's just something about outward performance that gets them. And you need to be honest about it, to ask yourself. There are people like that, to be honest. I need to ask yourself, what is foiling this? And that's the only way you can find that balance between having like a realistic, valid expectation or desire and being delusional, right? Because being delusional can be very costly, especially because we don't believe in spot dating. What spot dating means is dating without agenda. Just, you like somebody, you just get with them, you know, indefinitely, right? We believe in dating with intention and with the intention of getting married. And that's why we have some of the perspective, you know, we're talking about. Being delusional can be very costly because you get with somebody that is not right for you. Or you get with somebody and then you guys waste time. And then you now make the decision that you should have made in the first instance, you know. So it's very important. Make that distinguish between the two, the value system, the preferences, and ask yourself what is fueling the desire for it. Some people have valid reasons. Some people can say, you know what, I want somebody that has a lot of hair because in my family we don't used to have hair, and I want to give my child a chance, you know, with hair, and that's okay, that's fine, right? And by the grace of God, you find somebody that checks, you know, all the boxes on the value system and on the preference as well. Sometimes, to be honest, ask married people. Sometimes you don't get everything on your preference list. Sometimes you do, and it's all sweet and good because you're with somebody that you truly care. And when you find somebody you truly care about, you love, and checks the value system, trust me, you would almost be blinded to some of the preferences that the person didn't have, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
About what?
The fact that sometimes, like, married people who like truly love, you know, their partners, they might check.
Me, I can't correct you. I married a babe that has
No.
everything I'm looking for, so I don't.
No, I'm
I
saying
can't
as
relate.
a married. I'm not saying between the both of us.
Okay.
I'm saying speak for married people.
Okay.
Like, do you believe that a married person can, you know, there's a way you love somebody and you are blind to their inadequacies.
Yeah.
Right. That's a real thing. Right. So yeah, that's what I think. So how about you?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the main question
How do you?
was. Oh yeah. Draw the line between being delusional and being practical. I think, simply put, if you feel like the choices you are making in terms of, we've established, first of all, delusion lies in the misdirection. So that means if you are not dating with the right intent in mind, so you don't even know what you are scanning for. So if we are just vibing, we are just going with the flow, there really isn't any end in mind that is defining why I'm choosing to be with this person. So, but if marriage, building a family, building an empire together is what you have in mind, then the requirements become clearer in that sense. So I would say that if your list is leaning more towards the preference side, is heavy on preferences and light on non-negotiables, then it's likely that you may be headed in that direction of being delusional about what you want. You know, when you're like, he's abusive, but he's cute, you know, that's practically delusion.
But he's a good man.
Yeah, I see the potential in him. I see the goodness in him. Nobody gets us. When you are starting to head in those directions, it's become more difficult. And I have to add the perspective of the fact that there's also listening to God, because God can
Absolutely.
literally crash your list.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
there should be room for that. So
Absolutely.
where this person may not be, I'm reminded of all those podcasts where some people be saying that, when I was dating my wife,
Oh God.
I was not attracted to her.
Oh God.
No, 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 no. I wonder why they do that. Thankfully, again, I can't relate. So, I mean, and one thing I would always say is that, which is one of the reasons why I feel like pastors always marry fine wives, is that I feel like, number one, if your values are defined, you know the right demography to be in. And I feel like, there are all the preferences you are looking for. There are bad people that have them. There are good people that have them. There are God-fearing people that have them. So, and I feel like there's also of time is also another factor. But why I feel this one is my own hypothesis. So, anybody can prove my theory wrong. Is that those pastors are within the circle of people who are growing towards the same value. So, there's an alignment in values.
Yeah.
It is easier to be attracted to a beautiful sister that has the
Everything
good
checks,
characters when you're in the right place. So if you are
You
not,
get it.
if you are not, do you get the point? Of course, there are other layers to it, but I'm just saying, simply put.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'll just answer it that way. That if what you're looking for is heavy, so you should always be able to measure that. Okay, because some things you may not discover it before you get close to the person. It may be in discussions and conversations with them, and you start realizing that their values regarding women, their ideas about, even some people can. It's from the way they tweet self. Sometimes that's where you know that this match cannot work. So it's in exchanging, rubbing off of each other's, and you can only understand and appraise that if you know what your own values are on certain matters. So I think at the end of the day, it's really on you to grow. It's really on you to define the things that you want out of life, and you can find a partner who aligns with you on those things, and it honestly makes the journey easier. I'm not trying to mechanize it, because I can't deny the fact that there's also the help of God involved. But if you've not, another problem you have is if you've not been connecting with God prior to getting into a relationship, you've not been discerning, you've not been listening to the Holy Spirit, you've not been studying the Bible, you've not been praying about other aspects of your life. It's not only this
Then you're now
relationship
trying
one
desperately
that you're now
to
saying
hear
God
God.
is telling me things. Then
I don't trust it.
I don't know.
always jokingly say, see, if I've not seen somebody exercise and practice their walk with God in terms of like hearing God, listening to God, and the first time you're hearing God is on who to marry, trust me, I do not trust what you're saying. I don't trust whatever it is you heard. You have to have had a track record of working with God, hearing God concerning, like leading you concerning every area of your life. God wants to be involved with every single thing and not just with marriage, right? Yeah.
All right. So my next question will be, so I find that, in this age, it seems like people are much more afraid of marrying wrong than afraid of staying single. So like, it seems like people would rather remain single for, as of course there are some people that it's not within their control, or it's not a conscious decision, but people would rather just day their day than indulge in a relationship for the fear of making a wrong choice. So let's just discuss that. Do you think people are more fearful about getting it wrong than, even though it seems like I've already tipped the direction of the conversation, do you think people are more afraid of getting it wrong than being alone?
I think so. And I think this is fueled by the narrative that media pushes, right? In recent times, we've seen a lot of podcasts, that project this narrative that marriage isn't working, men are scum, women are trash, out of 24 hours, fear men, for 20 hours out of, that.
And fear women for 23.
And fear women, So it's crazy. Even people who grew up in like stable families, you'd see some of them like being swayed because like the media is loud. And then celebrities, you hear them breaking up every other day, and we forget that mastery in one area of life doesn't make you, or doesn't guarantee mastery in other areas. So because you are a talented performer doesn't mean you have sense like that for other areas of life. But we don't acknowledge that. So I think that that's actually a thing in recent times. I think for me, I also experienced that. It wasn't necessarily fueled by these things, but it was fueled by what I saw, the image I saw growing up, things I saw around me, and it just gave me this, even though I didn't admit it to myself on time, but I believe that the things that helped me, number one, was having a vibrant work week. But I would always say this because even before I made a conscious effort to start working on my mind in this area, I think that having a work with God gave me a head start because my mind has started to be renewed about a lot of things, about a lot of ideologies. As I studied the word, as I grew, like some things just started to wash from my mind. Like I just had new ideologies and new thoughts and images about life, about how my life would be. And when I got to a point in my life where God started to highlight that area, it was an easier work. Do you get? Because something has been done in a generic sense to prime me for that progress. So I think that it starts with having the right image. For some people, you don't even have to battle with that because you had solid family image, solid image on marriage, growing up, not just between your dad and your mom, but your aunties, your uncles. So like that's not even a struggle for you. You just grew up expecting that you will marry right and the marriage is beautiful and marriage is amazing. Not everybody has that privilege, right? And you just need to know your the leverages you've had in life and know the I don't want to call it disadvantages, but just know where there are opportunities that can hold you back in life and begin to work on it by God's grace. So that's what I believe. And I think so I always say this, that humility also comes with knowing that yes, this is an inadequacy and there's something I can do about it, which means I can learn about it, I can ask questions about it, I can read books about it. So for instance, a person who has that fear and you see somebody you really like and you're like, you know what, taking this bold step in this direction, there is high odds that you're going to fall flat on your face, not for lack of trial or attempt or for lack of good intentions, but because there is no prerequisite knowledge on how to make it work. A person like that shouldn't be going into relationships without reading, without having mentors or having like solid community where they have similar ideology. So for instance, there are books, countless books on dating, understanding yourself, understanding the other person, that increases the odds of making it work. So for instance, if you grew up in a dysfunctional family, you should not be getting married without reading books on marriage because you don't have any image or frame of reference on how to make marriage work. So it's very important. A person can get married and then when it crashes, they say, oh, you know what we say now, village people, or it's the enemy. And that this is how circles are perpetuated because people don't get the prerequisite knowledge to change their realities from what they've always seen, to what they expect. So you do need to read to close that gap. So if there's a fear, understand what's driving that fear. Is it based on experiences? Or maybe somebody may even have like a stable home, but their attempts at dating men just somehow didn't go well. So you need to understand, like, what have I observed? Like, what's driving this? Is it even like my selection system that is the problem? So maybe it's even the kind of people that I pick that lands me in this situation. You need to be able to do that diagnostics, right? And then get the prerequisite knowledge. It cannot be overemphasized. Personally, for me, I don't go into seasons. There are some seasons that just lands on you. You were not like planning for it, but you already start to feel like, you know what, I think it's time for me to consider this area of my life, or I feel like, okay, this is an area I need to pay attention to. You need the prerequisite knowledge. I know it may seem afar off, like, we're talking about love. Why are we talking about knowledge? Why are we talking about books? But it's very important, so that that's how you renew your mind. That's how you know what to look out for. And that's how light shines into your heart. And you see that you're making better choices. You don't have to live life just stumbling around. You can live life with precision. Not to say we're going to get to a point where we know everything, but at least have a base level of precision that saves you from like silly mistakes. So I think that's how you can practically conquer that fear. You know that it's in your destiny to get married to an amazing person, to an amazing woman, to an amazing man, right? You know that for sure. Not that that's in doubt, but there's a fear, and you're at the point where you're like, you know what, instead of me getting this wrong, I'd rather stay single. I think these are the steps that you need to take, to move you from that place of fear to a place of faith, about it. So what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I will admit that there are people who I think have actually made a decision that they would rather not even indulge in relationships, marriage, because they've heard enough stories about relationships gone wrong, marriages gone wrong. They've had people that sort of even inspired them, have it disrupted. No, yeah, like even go south at some point, not just even having it tough, and stuff like that. So I wouldn't know maybe which one is more, but I will admit that there are a number of people who, out of fear of getting it wrong, are choosing that, I would rather not. I mean, you are entitled to your choice, but if this is a response to fear, to trauma of any sort, and you actually do desire a good and healthy marriage, but then because of the PR that is popular these days, you are reconsidering and are afraid of making a choice that you desire out of life. Here are a few recommendations. I would say, first of all, be prayerful about it. I cannot overemphasize that. This is not, most times people always start everything, say just pray about it. But the reason why is because I feel like clarity comes in the place of prayer. It gives you clarity that beyond what your eyes can see, beyond what your senses can grasp. Because the truth of the matter is, this is life. Everybody tries to put their best foot forward. You can even be in church and be within what you feel is a safe community, and you find out that some people still end up with monsters, even amongst the brethren. So some things, it is only the Holy Spirit that can help you discern correctly. So you need that important aspect. The second thing, which is something you mentioned, I think you should consciously fill yourself with positive knowledge regarding marriage and relationships. Trust me, there are a lot of marriages that are working, that are thriving, that are healthy. But where you stay and where you get information from defines your perspective of whatever it is you are listening to, whether it's good or bad. So you need to reinforce the positivity around marriage. And it's not just make believe, it's not just something that you're cooking up in your mind. You need people who are getting it right in that sense by the help of God. So you need to listen to their stories. You need to know how they are navigating challenges, because it's not because there are no challenges there. You need to know the things you should actually be looking out for in making the right choices. And one thing I must say is that time is also a very, very essential factor. I feel like for younger people, intentionally position yourself in the communities that will make the right partnerships thrive. What do I mean by that? You don't want to wait till it's time for you to start considering marriage before you start being selective or too picky about the kind of friends you have, about the kind of community you find yourself in. The earlier you start reading about relationships, studying about marriages, studying about godly homes, studying about those things at a very young age, it gives you the reflectiveness to be able to consciously place yourself around the right people. And the honest truth is that, is that not tautology? The honest truth. The truth of the matter is that you increase your odds of ending up with the right person if you are in like a pool of people that share your same values genuinely. And to be honest, the best way to find out people's true hearts, true intent, is when there is no stake involved. One of the things I desired when I was much younger, before I even got into a relationship or got married, was that I desired getting married from within my community, because I knew that that was one thing I felt would give me an advantage, in that I would know the people I was relatively close to, even not just close friends and acquaintances. I prefer that I know somebody independent of my emotions or connection to them before I even start embarking on any love or relationship or anything like that. Because there are some things that your eyes will not see when somebody is approaching you because of the desire of getting into a relationship with you. The lines are a bit blurred at that point in time. So you may know somebody may even be genuine and truthful, but then because of experiences you may have had, you may be wondering that I mean, this guy is just doing all of this because he's trying to get into a relationship with me. So and that also helps you to, and also how they treat other people, you know. So I mean, when I was going to ask my wife out, I was not in doubt of her character, because before I even started catching feelings for her, before I even knew that, oh, she was going to be somebody I wanted to get married to. Of course, I'd always known her to be one fine babe, you know, doing amazing stuff and all of that. So that particular aspect, okay, I think the simple formula is this: for every fine babe that you are seeing, just assess them based on character, based on values, based on all of, independent of your attraction to them. So that, I mean, so that if ever or whenever, I'm saying it like you can trigger these things, flip these things on and off. But I hope you get the heart of what I'm saying. So that if emotion starts to, flutter, starts to come up, you already know that, okay, it's not at this point that I'm trying to find out if this person is a good person or a bad person. Do you get? At least that part is already settled. Of course, there's more to unravel, because trust me, there are some things you will not know at the peripheral level. But trust me, because the most people we will interact with, we would engage with them at the peripheral level. And there's a lot you can even tell from that level. So before we start digging deep and knowing each other on a deeper level, at least the primary checks have been unbiasedly filtered. So it gives you an advantage. All right. So final question will be this. Have you ever, or did you ever pass on someone because of a minor ache or unmet expectations?
How many examples do you want?
It's plenty.
So I will just
so there are many people that fumbled the opportunity. Thank you very much, wherever you are. Continue.
So I will just stick to the minor ache part, because really it seemed really, really minor, but for me it was loud. So I hung out with this person. Do I call it this? And by the way, as a single person, it's okay to hang out with prospects if you get invited. It's okay.
Please,
you guys are
giving
just
context. Yes, some people with stretches
no,
for that.
That's why I want to clarify.
They'll be billing them.
No, not
billing. They will be going to their house.
Going to house.
But like you can have conversations, basically.
Wait. Going to, how did we get from? Please, house.
Because these days now, just saying go on a date now.
What I'm saying is if and by date it would just be, oh, let's go see a movie, let's just hang out, because you need to have conversations. And those conversations can happen over the phone, can happen face to face, but please, as in from where to where. I need to clarify this part. No house visit, excuse me.
Okay.
I hope that's clear. Anyway, so we're out having lunch, and it seemed like all through the conversation, this person was just talking about it himself. It seemed like, I don't know, he had an agenda, to just position himself in a kind of way, It wasn't bragging, but it was subtle. It was, I don't know. And it wasn't like a confidence thing. This was like, I'm trying to position myself as this. I'm like talking a lot more about myself.
It was pitching himself.
No, and that's why I say it's like minor, because that speaks volumes. And I started to ask myself some questions that I know, it's great that you have a like solid image of like who you are, at least it seems as though, but I could see an underlying element of, is it insecurity? Yeah, when you are assured of yourself, like, it is what it is. You don't need to put it in my face, or you don't need to project certain things, or maybe it felt like this is the kind of things that Tokwe would want to hear. And for me, that was a red flag. Because I started to ask myself questions like, is this person secure in himself? Is this person, or will this person be secure in the progress of his wife as well? Those are critical questions you have to ask yourself as a woman and even as a man, right? But I'm talking from a woman's perspective because that's what I am. I started to ask myself things like, does this person have an overbloated ego? Does this person actually acknowledges the fact that God gives dreams and aspirations
so as the person was
to women as well.
Virgin Mojito, you did not know that this was the assessments that
it wasn't even like that deep. Do you get? Like, I'm just saying that, like, and the way we make conclusions or the way we make decisions, like all of this is I'm saying now, it just happened like in a papa, and my mind
that's what I'm saying now. So like you didn't know all of this was going on.
So in my head, like I already mentioned that it's never going to happen. Of course, we, even till now, we're still friends. This person may never know that, it's what I'm referring to. But we're friends and we're cool, like good friends, but yeah, that's like one of it. So when you have conversations, don't just be listening and just be eating at, like, the spoken and unspoken, things, the body language, the things they project. Are they also interested in hearing what you have to say, or they are more particular about like dominating the conversation? Do you understand? Yeah. So
that's a good one. Once again, thank you, bro.
the person is living with the love of his life too, so it's okay.
Congratulations to you too. Anyway, whatever.
Moving on.
For me, so mine would just be at basic attraction level. So the one major ache for me, even when, because I feel like, I don't know if it's a general thing with guys or even with everybody, like at least within your circle of friends, you shall know that, okay, I think this girl is cute, this person is, at least on that fundamental attractiveness level, you have probably just scaled everybody just for reserve, that whenever, depending on what is leading you, as the spirit leads, as your eyes lead or whatever, that okay, maybe but at least you have possibly assessed people around you based on those metrics in terms of attractiveness. Like, am I even attracted to this person? Do I like this person? Do I find this person beautiful or stuff like that? But one thing, no matter how fine a girl was, if I see that there are too many people on your matter, count me out.
But why?
I don't know if it's pride though. I don't know if it's...
But I thought they said people are hunters, hunting up and down.
My own kind of hunter. I don't like stress. Like, no. So it's not even in that. Of course, you can't control how much guys are attracted to you. Especially if you're a beautiful girl. Case in point. But if you are overly indulgent, I think like even yourself, you are not decided.
I knew what you wanted to get it out of you. No, like I understood what you meant.
Like even you are receptive
like
of their advices.
You don't have boundaries.
Thank you very much. There's no clear boundaries.
And let me explain what you mean. So
explain my ick for me.
Yes, I want to. This thing where, and it can apply both ways.
Yeah.
This thing where like you are like hot cake. But that's not even it. It's the fact that it's not even the fact that there are a lot of people that like you, but it's that a lot of people have stories.
Thank you very much.
Experiences with you, even though they didn't.
No, it doesn't even have to be. Experiences can be wide.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like people have tangible encounters with you.
So let me give you an example. So if I just hear from most people that me and so person, we were chatting all night. Like, you guys are not dating. Why am I hearing that you are chatting overnight with two guys? If you like, call it petty. Me, I just never liked those kind of lack of restrictions. Me, maybe because me too, I'm that kind of person, and I was very respectful of myself. Like, even if I like you and I find out that there's already somebody hovering around you, if I see that it's like you too, you are not ready. That's it for me. So, on that note, I believe, or do you have any other thing you want to add?
That's
I think this was
an amazing one.
Yeah, this was a really fun one. Yeah. So, on that note, we have come to the end of this episode of the Someone Had to Say It podcast. I hope you had a good time. If you did, drop a comment.
Please do.
Like this on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever it is that you are listening to. And please share. Let more people enjoy it. I'm sure you love listening to this, so I'm sure you can think of somebody who would also enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode. Thank you for your support always, and see you on the next one. Bye.
Someone had to say it. Someone had to say it. Voices rise, we can't delay.